What's up, Benchwarmers? We are back with another episode to talk about some Premier League football that happened last weekend. It was very action-packed, a lot of great games. I'm sure you guys would agree. But hello, everyone. Hello, Marco.
What's up, Ben? Long time no see. Happy belated birthday, bro.
Thank you.
Would have had you cake, but we decided not to record on the studio today.
All good. Diego?
What's up, man? I'm glad it was your celebrated birthday and you were able to get a Liverpool win for that. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Gat?
What's up? Happy birthday. How you feeling?
Pretty bad.
Okay.
You really wanted Henderson out on the pitch, didn't you?
Where we need it, bro. We need those overlapping runs. But either way, you can get all our good stuff. You can watch all our YouTube videos, Benchwarmers FC TV, everything down in the description. I'm gonna bring it back to the OG days. I'm gonna even spell it all out. Like I said, YouTube videos, Benchwarmers FC TV. You can listen to all our podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Benchwarmers FC, and you can follow us on all social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. TikTok at Benchwarmers FC1. And if you want to email us, bench@benchwarmersfc.com. So, with that being said, I have a little warm-up question for you guys.
Question. You said no.
Let's do it.
I do.
Okay.
It's an intriguing question. Like number 4. What is everyone's favorite color?
Orange. Everybody knows this already.
What a surprise.
It's literally right there. By right there, I mean
I'm not like there, guys. I come up with no good warm-up questions. I'm sorry.
I think everybody would think I would have a problem if there was more orange in this room, so I don't, but I do.
I'm surprised. Anyone else? Anyone else favorite color?
Blue all day.
Diego, what's yours?
Guy Nick, bro. Honestly, younger, I did like specifically a shade of electric blue because I saw it on a Corvette once when I was smaller. But now I'm just into like a neutral gray tone, just cool gray. It goes with everything.
Bland.
Mine would be purple. Although I do think green is an underrated color. Green. I don't know. But that's the warm-up question of the century. It's right up there with Eric's. But all right, with that being said, all right. Champions League action, couple of good games. Let's start off the bat. Haaland losing 2-0 to Sporting. Not Sporting Lisbon. Do not say Sporting Lisbon. Sporting fans will kill you. Sporting. Losing 2-0 away to Sporting. Conte's record in Europe, man, looking shaky as per. I don't understand. Diego, did you catch this game?
I did, actually. And it was incredible to see just how badly I think, like, first of all, I want to put this out as an olive branch to Spurs fans, to Josue. I think the treatment that Heung-min Son is getting on this team is ridiculous. I think Heung-min Son getting axed before the 70th minute. I think Kulusevski getting dropped after carrying that squad offensively last season. I think it's bar none probably the worst treatment of 2 ballers on that squad just because they had an addition in Richarlison. Mind you, Richarlison can do it. He's a great addition to, I would say, most teams in the Premier League. But coming into a system that was firing well at the end of last season for Conte, we see it already with Heung-min Son's goal involvement numbers and statistics have dropped off a cliff. And I think interrupting that flow by switching and swapping between those 3 guys, Kulusevski, Heung-min Son, and Richarlison, I think is the biggest detriment to the Spurs team. That said, so Spursy, bro. So Spursy. In stoppage time. And not to mention, I'm watching this game and I had tuned in a bit late. And it just seemed like things just weren't. Perisic it looked like he was probably trying, like, they just weren't. I don't know. Offensively, things just weren't clicking. I'll put it like that. Defensively, a shambles. And you guys can pick that up because I know we had mentioned it, at least chatting with each other. We had mentioned the culprit for those goals at that moment, in the dying moments of the game. Man, I'm smiling because it's, typical Spurs performance, as per. I think that's probably why they deleted the bottle picture, right? Or no?
Maybe, but man, I've said this last season. Like some of these Spurs players, like as much as Conte can raise players' levels, like fucking Eric Dyer, like how much can he better? He's been shit for like 3 years. You know what I mean? So Ben Davies, like nice little purple patch last season, nice little purple patch, but he's shit too. So there's only so much, right? And like the thing you mentioned, like it's almost like the whole Richarlison thing. Isn't like Conte kind of like forced to start him because of his like crazy form these past couple games? Like he's kind of forced to start him because you can't just drop him because he's on great form. He scored 2 goals against Marseille. But like Son, I'm seeing like some takes on Twitter. Is Son past it? I know Diego, you mentioned a couple weeks ago, Son over the hill maybe.
I think he could be. I don't know if maybe Marco or Gab want to pick this up, but I think it might be. I think it might be time to call Son's. He's had an elite output, and I think it might be time to call curtains on that. What do you think, Gab?
But now, do you think he's over the hill because obviously his overall form dropped, but do you think it's like, what is it all him? Or is it because, as you mentioned, Richarlison coming in and Conte being forced to now swap between the three of them? Do you think that's what's interrupting either Son's mental state, not knowing how much time he has on the pitch anymore? So like, is it Son or is it the addition of Richarlison? I'm more inclined to believe it's more Richarlison because a player like Son to do what he did last season, to just drop off this dramatically, it can't be just Son. It has to be just the interruption in the way they're playing and his minutes now being managed. It can't be all Son, in my opinion.
Let's say it is. Let's say hypothetically what you're saying is true, and the fact that Richarlison is in here is the reason why Son's form has dropped tremendously, right? For the past, we're in 5? We have 7 games in so far this season?
7.
Count in Champions League and Premier League. How? Let me try not to be so rude, but how low is your mental state that one player coming in can affect you that badly? I personally don't think it's that. I think it's just it's time to go. I think he did what he could with Spurs. I think if he leaves and he goes somewhere else, I think he'll come back to be his normal self. I don't want to think that's because Richarlison came in. I personally, because I think I respect Son too much because what he's done for a shit team like Spurs.
Nah, bro, he got red carded, man. Didn't you watch All or Nothing? He's an
cried
animal.
Tears of pain after he got that red card, bro. I felt it. And if he wasn't any other team but Spurs, I would have rooted for him a little bit more. But he was Spurs, so good that he got that red card. But no, I really don't think he's that mentally. He's that lost. That one player is causing him all this.
I think he is that soft, and I'm gonna venture into saying that it's it's gonna come off like I'm trying to cover my ass, but I genuinely think that it's compounded. I genuinely think that he is past 30, past that prime mark, and then you have the incoming threat of the newer, nicer, shinier toy in Richarlison directly threatening your position. I think it just accelerated what might have. I think we might have seen this from Son. Probably give him 2 more seasons. I think he had that in him, and the arrival of Richarlison, I think that fast forwarded it to right now.
Well, interesting situation with Son Heung-min. Yeah, interested to see how. I mean, he's been there for time, and that partnership he's built with Harry Kane has been unreal. But although Heung-min Son's kind of like, what can we say, decline maybe, we've also seen Dejan Kulusevski kind of take that step up. So it's kind of like 2 minus 1 is 1, but then Kulusevski is there, so plus 1, it goes back to 2, if that makes sense. So, but
let's pretend that does.
Say?
Let's
confused.
All right. So Kane and Son were 2, right? What the fuck? Okay, 2. Kane and Son were 2.
Okay.
Son kind of fell off, so it's only 1 really putting in work.
Okay.
Kulusevski came in, so that's 1 again.
That's 2.
Goes back to 2.
Okay, where we're going with this?
The amount of trophies that Spurs have had in the last 30 years, too.
That,
30. Okay, 30.
That like Tottenham haven't lost that much because with Son falling off, another one kind of rises up. I don't know. It could be going on. But we move though. Inter 2, Victoria no. Bayer Leverkusen 2, Atletico no.
What about, since you're talking about rising up, why don't you just segue into this Liverpool game against Ajax, man? Talking about rising up to the occasion. Yo, Matip.
Yeah, facts. Like past couple games, Liverpool have needed a late winner. Although I do think Liverpool were pretty comfortable this game, to be honest. I had an XG of around almost 2. I think it was 1.98 to Ajax's 0.27. So I thought Liverpool kind of outplayed Ajax, particularly in the first half, and then kind of like the 45th to like maybe 60th, 65th was kind of like very blunt in terms of Liverpool in attack. But my overall main point is just how crazy like Thiago just makes his team better. Like I've never seen a player for this team, like they lose one player and the team just becomes shit, but then they gain him back and then the team becomes pretty good again. And it was very clear last season when Thiago wasn't playing. Now, it wasn't to the level that they are this season when he isn't playing, but when last season, when he wasn't playing, you could see a clear drop-off just because the replacement or the replacement in him just isn't to his level. And like, just like yesterday when Thiago came in, it's just like, I don't understand how he can make the team that much better. It's like, he's like fucking LeBron, obviously not to the level of LeBron, but in terms of making his teammates better. So yeah, man, if it was a 1-1, I would have been still pissed, but the performance was there. It wasn't like if Liverpool won 1-0, but it was like some fucking stupid Jota classic own goal, classic tap-in, I would have been pissed if the performance wasn't there. But you know, it was a good game. Mohamed Kudus for Ajax has been on smoke lately. Ghana, very, very nice talent pool that they have current up. Yeah, watch out for the World Cup with Uruguay. Ghana's coming for that ass, bro.
I'm not worried. Final game of the group stage. It's gonna be nice to just send them home packing.
Ghana. Well, actually, I kind of want for Uruguay. Honestly, get Portugal out of here. We don't want that terrorist of a coast to
wow.
Either way though. All right. Honestly, this is probably the big hitter, to be honest. Bayern 2, Barcelona 0. A lot of heavy hitters. Lewandowski coming back to the Allianz Arena. Ghosting in the big game, as per. Not surprised. Go stick to bagging against teams from fucking Czech Republic and fucking Cadiz and Elche and Eibar and shit. Just can't do it in big games, bro. I mean, but what can I say? Did anyone really catch this game?
Yeah, I watched this from beginning to end, and it was glorious. It was glorious to see, at least in the beginning, it was all like, wow, Busquets is such a legend. What ball knowledge, what ball movement. He holds the team together. And then bang, right after the restart, after halftime, Lucas Hernandez with that beautiful little header into the goal. And I feel like afterwards, I think the 2 goals in those 4 minutes, it almost feels like probably Bayern were waiting for specifically the moment to inflict damage twice. And I think really the conversation has to turn into how valuable an asset like Jamal Musiala is for this team, and how that was a coup for them. That was a great pickup for them, not just, value wise for this asset, but I think on the pitch it's pretty I think it's pretty amazing. It would have been nice to see maybe Mane score in this game. He got subbed off in the 70th for Serge Gnabry, but I think I will give some credit. I will give some credit to I think it was I believe it was Pedri who he got played in with, you know, like a 1-2 pass, a wall pass into the box, and Neuer came out and he tried to basically side foot it towards his left, you know, looking at the goal towards his left. He hit the post that went out. They hit the post also a couple of times, which was unfortunate, but you know, I'm smiling. So I think overall, just looking at the aggregate, well, I think I'm not sure. I'm gonna venture to say that I think this was real because the meme was someone took a photo of the screen at the stadium where they were like aggregate over like the last 5 matches, and it said Bayern 14, Barcelona 2. Dang. And I think it just showed their dominance. I really do. I believe in certain cases this was probably the hardest test for this Barca band, and they couldn't stand up to the measure. I see Marco nodding his head. So what do you think about that, Marco?
I do agree with you. I mean, you did forget to mention that low on Disney fucking missed I want to say a tap in, but not really. He had to control it and then kick the ball, but he couldn't even do that. And at least in this game, he can normally do it in La Liga, but we know what the Liga is. I do agree with you, Diego. I think that this was the first big showing that they had, the big game, at least so far this season. I think this was going to be the bigger one. I was excited to know that Bayern was going to be playing in group stage against Barcelona once the Champions League group stages came out. I was happy about this. I would have preferred this one to be at Camp Nou, and Bayern had beat them there and then go home and beat them again. But you can't win them all. This was a perfect performance for Bayern. And for Barca, it shows that they still need a lot more work to do. They got away with a lot. They got away with a lot this season, or this transfer window. They got extremely lucky. How did they do it? They only know. I couldn't be. I wouldn't be able to answer. And I also don't want to speculate too much. Drug money. But you could
drug money.
But yeah, man, Xavi has a long way to go, and I'm happy that at least for now it's a struggle. Maybe by, I don't know, World Cup times it's gonna be look different. But honestly, I'm glad just to see this right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I don't know. And I feel like, in my opinion, I don't think Barcelona played really that terribly. They had a decent amount of XG. They actually had more XG than Bayern. I thought in attack, they're actually probably at the same level as Bayern. But with Barcelona, when you have a player like Marcos Alonso, left back, you're down to concede a goal. The guy sleeps. He has the bozo gene that I call. And he did that for Lucas Hernandez. Unfortunately, in Europe and Champions League, you can't have players with the bozo gene. And Andreas Christensen, in fact, yeah, Marcos, he's slow. He's a murderer, but either way.
He's a left wing back. He's not a left back. I get what you're saying.
He sleeps at near post. He's just very, very poor positionally. And Andreas Christensen, another player who's getting exposed in the back four. I wouldn't say he's been terrible this season, but another player who has bozo gene in the back four. If you look at Bayern's squad, they don't really have players with bozo genes. The only player maybe Dio Upamecano was been pretty poor last season, but he had a pretty good game this season. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Barcelona played poor, but when you have players who can cost you games like that, you will lose games. And this is what happened when Marcos Alonso costed Barcelona 1 goal. So it doesn't matter what kind of system or great structure you have. If you have players who will cost you games, like, for example, like Dejan Lovren, right? Liverpool can have an incredible system, but Dejan Lovren, who has the Bozo gene, can cost you games. So
Lovren is the best defender in the world. That's Edgar.
Bro, you know what's funny about that? I don't know if you guys know, but you know Lovren called himself better than Ramos, right?
He's an idiot. And that's why he had no future.
I don't know if you guys do that, but he was on a podcast with Copa 90. I forgot, Poet and Vuj, and he was like, I'm the best defender in the world, some shit like that. But either way, that was Bayern Barca. So nice little star show between Jamal Musiala and Pedri. I thought Pedri played pretty well. That's my guy. Musiala is also top. I don't know if you guys know, but Musiala was actually at Chelsea's academy. Cobham. Yeah, I think he left like at age 13. And then he rejected England, which is another big L for England. Again, and then he went to Germany. So, Musiala he's been the way he's been like this is the thing with young talents. Like, you have to be integrated. You can't be like thrown into the mix and then expect the player to develop all the way at the top. Like, for example, like I said a couple episodes ago, the way like Pep Guardiola handled the whole Phil Foden situation was perfect, and how he actually got him like to become this top player, just integrated him slowly. Same thing with Jamal Musiala with Bayern under different managers under Hansi Flick, under Julian Nagelsmann. Like, it's just not being thrown into the mix. Now that he's fully developed and like grown into this beautiful star, he's getting thrown into the mix. So you can't be like Harvey Elliott starting fucking 5 Premier League games in a row and expect him to fucking be, some top player. Like, it's just not gonna happen. But either way, I thought that was Bayern 2, Barcelona 0. The new camp fixture is gonna be very interesting because those two, like, they have like some crazy game changers. So yeah, that was yesterday's fixtures. Is there any other Champions League fixtures that catch you guys' attention today?
First game under Potter, 1-1.
Oh yeah, I saw apparently Sterling played left wing back.
Terrible.
Yeah, I'm confused because friggin' Europe games suck for me because it's very hard for me to watch as I'm at work. But I know I'm so confused as to how he lined up because it looked like it was a back four, and then like right before the game started, I started seeing it was back to your back three. So like I have no idea what the heck was going on. But yeah, I did see that Sterling was more of a left wing back, which is not surprising because that's what Potter was doing with Trossard, because he was putting Trossard in that position, and it worked out for them. I mean, Sterling did get a goal, so something right.
I didn't clock that. That's a good point, actually. The way how you use Leandro Trossard. Well, I remember when
so Trossard was the wing back and Cucurella played left center back, which is what happened this one with Sterling and Cucurella. So
yeah, it's interesting too because I remember when Thomas Tuchel was targeting Rafinha, I saw reports that he wanted to play him at wing back. Now it sounds like some terrorist move, but it does offer a 1v1 threat out wide. So it's interesting to see these wingers being played at wing back. For example, like I remember Hudson-Odoi playing as a wing back under Tuchel. I forgot how that went. I don't think it went too well, but I mean, it is kind of something we're seeing now, wingers being played at wing back. So yeah, Chelsea won. Salzburg won. There's gonna be a lot of. Would you guys say there's gonna be like a lot of pressure on Potter or no?
Absolutely.
Oh, there definitely is.
That's what I had said from the very beginning, man. Managerial suicide, and I stand by that. Managerial suicide. It's gonna be demand after demand for Potter, and I feel like this draw against a Salzburg team that really, if you look at it on paper, it should have been a W for this Chelsea squad. Everyone's saying like, oh, now he's inheriting this stacked squad, this great team, these better players. Imagine the things that he can do. And to sputter to a 1-1 draw, like the thing is that, okay, for realistic expectations, as I would be sitting here, yeah, that's fine. A 1-1, he just got thrown into the team. He's probably going to use a similar system to what he had. That's a great point that Gab made with Cucurella as the left center back. But the thing is that you still got people that you have to adjust to. And look at the subs that he made. Havertz and Aubameyang both taken off before the 70th minute, trying on something with Loftus-Cheek and Armando Broja, and they end up conceding the goal just 10 minutes later to that. And I feel like maybe I think the demands are going to come too quickly for Potter. And I really hope, and I say this out of a position where a lot of people admire Potter. I'm in that camp too, and I don't want him to lose out because he took on a job that, yes, he deserved to step up to the big club. But man, it doesn't look good for him. It would have been great if, like, okay, Sterling 1-0, close it out, we're done here, and we move. We keep it like we keep it moving, keep it pushing. But this 1-1's not going to do him any favors in terms of how patient they're going to be with him. Now, if he tells Todd Bowley that he's going to allow him to use his players for an all-star game, maybe he'll stick around. Maybe he'll stick around a little bit longer. Who knows?
Can someone else just buy Chelsea? Because This dude is annoying me. He's annoying. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I did saw something circulating as well. Something to the effect of Todd Bowley wanted like to play. I mean, we all know his stupid 4-4-3 nonsense, but he wanted to play the four at the back end. Initially, Potter had supposedly agreed to it, and then he played three at the back anyway. So like, I'm wondering like what's gonna come out of this next. But this guy is annoying.
He's like I can see why people from the UK hate Americans. Like he's that proper like fucking stupid American who's like, I want this my way. You know what I mean?
Gives us a bad rap.
Yeah. But
he needs to go, man. He needs to go. This is ridiculous.
All right, wait. What's everyone's take on that All-Stars shit? Because I kind of like it. I'm gonna lie.
It's the dumbest shit ever.
Why?
Look,
You're too American. That's why you like the idea.
But wait,
it's so stupid.
I saw people from the UK on Twitter fucking say they like it.
No
freaking way. Anything you see on Twitter, do not take any of it seriously, please.
I'm definitely not taking fucking Facebook shit serious. That's for one.
You see,
I mean, honestly, what Klopp said, his comment to it, is probably it's freaking great. I couldn't help but smile and just laugh at what Klopp was saying.
Bro,
there's no time.
Bro, replace the community fucking shield with that friendly game, bro. Fuck is the community shield, bro? No one wants that shit. Fucking Liverpool won. I don't fucking like that shit. Fucking play. It's a dinner play, bro. Honestly, bro. Like, honestly, that shit would be nice. Like, first of all, it's good for like your average like casual, right? Like turn on the TV, fucking see All-Stars of the Premier League on two teams, right? And then it's great for honestly for the business side of it, which we all know they fucking love. I don't see what's not to like. And for the viewers, I don't see what's not to like. I look at it as a friendly. And if they add like all-star like skill games, like I don't know, like I don't know what would be the equivalent of a 3-point contest in fucking football.
All right, guys. I'm out. I'll see you.
All right,
guys.
What makes you not like it? What makes you not like it?
Like, dude, this is footy. It's completely different to what we're used to in the States. Like, it's just unfortunate that we've become such a capitalist nation that we're worried about how can we possibly make more money. This is a game.
Hold on. Who the fuck cares if it? What about capitalism? I want to fucking watch some of the best footballers in the league play.
But it's called a beautiful game for a reason. Like you're turning it into all about money, and that's what I hate. It just feels wrong.
All right. Answer me this and look, I'm not against it. I'm not for it. When I would have liked to see it is when Messi and Ronaldo were on their prime. I just wanted to see them play together. That's the only reason why I've ever wanted this to happen is just to see them play together. And it's never gonna happen. I can live with that. Whatever. The U.S. does it. When a country comes, a team comes, Arsenal comes, Barcelona, Real Madrid, whoever, come to the United States and play, they have the MLS All-Stars. They have a full team of MLS players that come and play against one of these big teams. Nobody has ever complained about it. I get it. Not even them. The team that's coming from Europe hasn't complained about it. Now, also, Real Madrid at least does it. They play against Los Veteranos del Pasado, right? They come, they grab their oldest players that they can find, and they put them in one team, and they grab the oldest players from Liverpool and put it in one team. Cool. It's for the fans to come. Nobody takes it seriously. Everybody's laughing. Even the refs are fouling players sometimes, and we've seen it. We've seen it a bunch of times. You can find these fouls on YouTube and this shit on YouTube. Why can't you treat it as that? If it were to happen, why can't you treat it as that? Just a bunch of players getting together just to have fun. If you want to put a charity behind it, just to get the money, give the money to charity, perfectly fine. I don't see something bad or good about it. I just think that if they want to do it, fucking do it. Not every player has to participate.
Don't worry. Look, don't worry. They won't. They won't participate. Have you seen these people on social media with their, this is who would start for the North, this is who would start with the South? It's literally like freaking two teams from each. And this is what you do. 11.
This is what you do. You have two captains, for example. All right, fucking De Bruyne and Mohamed Salah.
You go back to when you're in high school, all right? 3 captains on the field.
All right, you have 15 players from You have 15 players from fucking North, 15 players from South. You can pick North and South, and you just combine them all together, like fucking what Kevin Durant and LeBron James does for the All-Star game. I see zero downside to an All-Star game in the Premier League.
But the funny thing is that you use NBA, and NBA is probably the worst type of All-Star game because it's a glorified training session, Nick. Nobody actually pays attention to that. And in fact, if anything, that probably adds more drama to the already drama-filled NBA season that we see it to begin with. I think that an All-Star game does not belong. For one, Bowley's idea was, let's generate more revenue. And I think that's a disingenuous already argument to make because there's plenty of money. There's plenty of money for the pyramid. He says, this is going to make $200 million on a Monday and a Tuesday. Imagine how much money we can make. There's plenty of money. The idea that there needs to be more is just because the clubs, the Premier League clubs, don't really share with the rest of the pyramid. Let's be real. Second of all, already with their unconscious bias, the people that are going to be the main audience for this, English people, they're not going to give a rat's ass about this game. They're not going to watch it. They're not going to be interested in an all-star match. Marco did touch on probably the one thing that he could have said, and I've seen this online. It's not an original thought that maybe Todd could have called it a charity match. But then you start to get into, we already have a congested fixture, schedule, season. You have at any point in time, the best teams have probably 4 to 5 different cup competitions happening alongside domestic league play. And then there's no such thing as a draft in the Premier League. So essentially, one of the teams is just going to end up being a mixture of top 6. And that in itself is already a problem because some of the ridiculous drafts that I've seen for the North team, and it's like basically have Liverpool, all City, or like maybe like one United player in there that doesn't make any sense. And then it's against the likes of Brighton, Brentford, Newcastle. Like, how is that even going to be any sort of competitive? I understand Marco's idea that probably, and myself too, in your younger days, you want to see these like great players like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if they played together? But I just think the reality doesn't lend itself to allow something like this to be created. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to work. I really don't.
I see no doubt in the past.
I think it's incredible.
They've done it in the past, not of course, the Premier League one. But if I'm mistaken, Nike versus Adidas has happened. And those were players representing Nike and representing Adidas clash against each other. So it has happened. Not Premier League, maybe not in Europe, but it has happened. At least in South America, it has. So I wouldn't say it's never going to happen. I think the pitch has to be different. And the guy, I think where he fucked up is he should have never mentioned NBA. If he would have left NBA out of it and just say, look, I would love to see a match of the best of the best. And again, like I said before, a charity match of the North versus the South. I think a European one, but whatever. And of course, there's rules. You have to pick 2 players per every team. That's it.
Good point. Good point on the rules. Why can't, like, for example, like 15 players per team, right? 11 on the pitch, maybe even more, whatever. Like 3 players, 5 teams. So like in the North, you'd have like Newcastle, Liverpool, United, City. Pick like 3 teams from each, and then bottom 4 like Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, and then someone else. Like I see zero downside. I think it'd be incredible to watch. I think it'd be incredible to the average person who doesn't watch that much football to really get their attention to this game.
And again, it's a friendly, so you don't even have to do 5 changes. You can do 11 subs. So you can have potentially 2 different teams in one half and a second team in another half for each whatchamacallit. Again, it's a charity one. It's a charity match. You can I'm calling it a charity match. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking about, but I'd see people play for it. I'm not gonna lie. As much as Twitter loves to fucking troll and talk shit, the people talking shit right now when they see it happen and they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be at Wembley. Here's my $200. I'm gonna go watch it.
Bro,
I'm a troll while I'm there, but I'm gonna watch it." So
I don't think,
bro,
it's different. It's different,
man.
Bro,
you tell me that if you didn't have the chance to go watch some of the best players in the world paying one team for whatever reason, you're not gonna go pay and go watch it just for shits and giggles.
I'll watch that shit on TV.
Dude, it's like the same concept when people say, "Oh, this World Cup has problems, problems." Motherfucker, you're still gonna watch it. I will still watch it.
There'll be a good amount of people that will boycott it. Of course, not everybody's happy with it, but I feel like genuinely, the people that are trolling it on Twitter are the first ones that are gonna end up buying a ticket.
I think it'd be incredible, but I feel like that this would be a great discussion in the studio for like a part 2.
Oh, Eric's gonna shit on us, by the way. I don't think he agrees with it. So
Honestly,
I will have to prepare the microphone so that when he spikes, I can control it.
Like in the NBA, it's like literally during the middle. It's like in February. Just
no,
have
you
like
never do that. You would do it.
Yeah, no, you just have it before the actual season starts. Like just replace the charity shield. It's actual charity, like you said, charity. Just give the fucking All-Star game to charity, like the community shield / charity shield is. But all right, I want to talk about this this particular team. Oh man, the downfall of this team is ridiculous. Juventus, man, Jesus Christ, wow, what a downfall.
What's the stat? They only won 1 game out of their last 7, I think, or something like that.
I don't even know what the stat is, but like it doesn't even like they gave fucking Aaron Ramsey 400 bags a week, and it all leads down to Tottenham's current sporting director and Fabio Paratici, who has been horrendous at recruiting players. Like they're literally like these guys still have fucking Danilo at right back, bro. Fucking Juan Cuadrado still, bro. Come on, man. Milik, what a terrible season last season. And where was he? Where was he last season in Ligue 1? I forgot who he was, but he had a horrendous season last season. Like, come on, man. This Juventus team, like, absolute fall off. And then another terrorist, Massimiliano Allegri, who is an absolute dinosaur. I don't know if you guys, the donut formation that he implements, where there's 0 players in the midfield. The guy is, your time's up, pal.
Hey, but they brought him back because
like
he had the glory days.
It's time to get this guy extinct. You know what I mean? Like, geez, man. Juventus. I don't know if you guys want to comment, but the downfall on these guys, like these guys are getting Champions League, 2 Champions Leagues in 3 years, like 1 against Barca, 1 against Madrid. Like the downfall is, geez, like I remember seeing some tweet. It was like, if you look at this Juventus current lineup, if it were to be on Everton Football Club, you wouldn't be surprised. And it's so true. Like if you look at Juventus' lineup current right now, and if that was Everton's lineup in the Premier League, you would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh man, gotta feel for Juventus, man. Gotta feel for them. But either way, I think that does anyone want to talk about City Dortmund?
Just the crazy acrobats that the one who was made from a lab. He's nuts.
Yeah,
he's nuts. I think they're saying there was a little Cruyff, there was a little Ibra in that goal. It's
yeah, just, that was Ibra vibes.
Yeah, the way he kicked it. Yeah, this dude is just nuts.
Yeah, but I think that concludes. Oh, Marco, do you want to talk Madrid or not?
I mean, it was an okay game. I mean, I love the fact that
Valverde is carrying.
I love yeah, exactly. Somebody said the real MVP, the real all-star, if you want to, because I can't remember the word, is Valverde. The one that's really carrying the team is Valverde, and we knew that. That's what he was brought in for. Fuck you. What I think is funny is now that we would have hoped after his speech, after winning the 14th, and he not doing absolutely nothing for it, but still winning it and having it under his name that he won it. Hazard is nowhere to be found. He had 1 good game. That he scored 1 goal and
Celtic,
1 assist. Right? And somebody in the chat, I won't say who, said Hazard is back. And today he was nowhere to be found, not even in the lineup.
I was saying Hazard Montao on Twitter, bro. Don't make me.
I'm like, they're legit putting Rodrigo as a striker, and he's actually doing a decent job, and he's not even a striker. we have a striker. We have Mariano. We don't even trust Mariano to do the job.
Mariano.
I'm surprised that motherfucker's still there, bro. I think he doesn't play. But regardless, but Valverde's goal was a phenomenal goal. Asensio's goal was a phenomenal goal. Asensio coming in second half as a sub, and they're doing their job, man. Vinicius is doing Vinicius things. He's making runs. He's catching people off guard. He's opening spaces up for somebody else to end up scoring goals. So I like what I'm seeing. It's just that it sucks that Benzema's not there. I don't know. I have to check. I can't remember how long he's gonna be out, but I know that our future is bright even with Benzema not being there.
Yeah, I think Madrid will sign a big time attacker next summer, because they needed a right winger this summer, and obviously Mbappe was one, but they didn't get him, so they're gonna go out for a big attacker next summer, in my opinion. But
maybe
this is completely off topic, but you mentioned Mariano. I find it so funny that he got the number 7 shirt after fucking Ronaldo left, bro. That's the funniest shit ever, man.
Who would do that? Like, I'll wear a 7 for one season and not even like do anything about it. Like, you tainted the 7 for like. I mean, Hazard is tainted even worse now, but he wore it one season, but they didn't give him the play time. Hazard has been here 3 and hasn't played it off. He was always injured. And now that he's technically good, he still is not even starting. So, yeah, man. I say give it back to Mariano and not be used at all.
Yep. All right, well, that concludes this week's Champions League. I think the next Champions League matches are like in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, something like that, after international break. So we move on to some Premier League games. There's not that many eye-catching games, like games that jump out at you. It was Chelsea-Liverpool. Well, obviously that got postponed. But I got a couple games selected for 3 games selected. One of them being Forest versus Fulham. I don't know. I find it's kind of interesting. I think both teams are like on decent form right now, especially obviously Fulham with Mitrovic, and then Forest obviously with their 1 billion signings. Forest haven't been that. Actually, no, wait.
I feel like Forest hasn't been as consistent as Fulham has. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, definitely. Forest have lost their last 3 games. 3-2 to Bournemouth, 6-0 to City, and then 2-0 to Spurs. Fulham lost their last game against Spurs, but then won their previous game before that against Brighton, 2-1. But they're still like on decent form though. That's the reason why I picked this game. But this is the predictions already. So let's start off with fucking Marco.
Which one is this one?
Nottingham Forest versus Fulham Football Club.
Who's at home?
Nottingham Forest.
I still pick Fulham. 2-1.
All right. Diego, you want to go?
I think it's gonna be Fulham 2-0.
Watch Cat say exactly the same thing.
I think this is going to be a feast for Fulham. I think it's going to be a good game, but if you pull up the stats so far up until now, the worst 2 teams in terms of expected goals conceded, worst team, Nottingham Forest. Second worst team is Fulham. And out of that, it's 13 expected goals conceded for Nottingham and just under 12 for Fulham. And Forest have conceded 14 goals already. And in the form Mitrovic is in, I think Fulham is going to feast. I think it's going to be 4-1 Fulham.
Shit. All right.
Jesus.
I'm going 2-0 Forest.
Forest, man. Man wants Nico Williams to pop off.
Oh, damn. But next game, this is interesting. This has always been like a banana skin for Man City these past recent years. Wolverhampton Wanderers hosting Man City at the Molineux Park, especially at Molineux. Wolves they've always given, especially with like that prime Traore, Raul Jimenez days, they'd always fucking give Man City trouble. Just that PMP, that pace and power in transition. This is an early kickoff. Yeah, what is that saying, baby?
I think number one, early kickoff doesn't count because we have Friday games, but
It does. It literally does count. It does count. It does count.
but this is yes, there'll probably still be some trouble for City, but there's no way Wolves score. They don't have anyone to actually put the ball in the back of the net. And you have Man City currently the best team in terms of expected goals conceded. They're sitting at 4.4. Granted, yes, they've already conceded 6, but they have 3 clean sheets so far, which is tied for most clean sheets with Wolves, funny enough, and Newcastle. But the Wolves don't have a striker. I don't think. Yeah, Costa came back. Yeah, they have Podence that occasionally does it from time to time, but not against Man City. I mean, I think it'll be an annoying game defensively, but I still think it's going to be 2-0 City.
All right, Marco.
You are surprisingly right.
Thank you, Marco. You're so kind.
Man, it's why wouldn't I choose City? That's the question. I think Haaland's gonna score another hat trick and have 3 in like the first like 3 fucking games.
Please.
Or if he walks away injured, either or, it's perfectly fine with me. I'll go 3-0 City.
All right, Dieguito.
I'm going 5-1 City.
The fuck? I thought I would be beat.
Damn.
I'm going 5-1 City. I think you guys are putting too much respect on the Wolves defense. They have nothing. They're toothless. They're basically literally Raul Jimenez is out. They signed what's his face, Kalajic, or however you pronounce it. He fucking tears his ACL the first fucking game in. After Bruno Lage was like, you know what? I'm going to ease him in. I'm not going to throw him right into the fire. Starts from the first fucking game and he gets injured. And now they got Diego fucking Walker on my Walker Costa on that side. I think he might be the player that puts that odd goal in. I think it might be even a situation where Wolves score first, because we've seen that defensively they haven't been that solid this season. They've let a few past. And with their center backs being somewhat injured, I think that Costa is going to probably nick a goal. But still, they're undefeated. Against Wolves, I think in like their last let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. City have won each of their last 4 against them by an aggregate score of 13-3. This is ending 5-1.
Never mind.
Can I change my result, by the way?
Hell no.
Come on, man.
I mean, this is a Wolves team who expected goals are currently at 6.73, but they've only actually scored 3 goals. They don't. You really think Costa's that much of a pickup? That
I didn't even know
that
he was already eligible to play. I thought he had to wait until the winter transfer window.
No, they signed
he's
him.
a free
signed
agent.
him. I just thought that he couldn't play until the next window.
No. Unless I'm mistaken, he got his work visa and he's ready to go. That's
okay.
what I.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah,
They don't mean shit.
And they don't have anybody else, so he's definitely.
Can
starting.
I change my, because of what Diego said, very, very, very accurate things, and now I need to change my result. I want it to be 7-0.
Marco, you're not.
Please change my. You allowed Eric to do it once and initially. Can I change mine?
You can't initial it. You can't
virtually initial it.
I hope it's 3-0, Marco.
All right, all right. Are you serious, Marco? 7-0?
All right, but no.
Hold
on. Marco, you gotta sign a piece of paper and put it on camera. You gotta sign a piece of paper and put it on camera, please.
Raise your right hand. I'm Marco Cruz. Hereby acknowledge that I am changing my prediction.
I, Marco the Interrupter.
All right, it's City's second, right? On away, right?
Yes, It's Wolves versus City. City is away.
What does that have to do with initially?
Okay, there you go. There it is, ladies and gents. This segment.
I'm about to sign mine over to 3-0 just so I can get the win.
Nah,
I'm going 0-0.
0-0? Are you nuts?
Bookmark it, save it, dread it, run from it. Destiny arrives all the same, baby.
Have you seen that cross that came into Haaland today alone?
You nuts.
It won't happen. It won't happen.
Against a Wolves team, they're just gonna run rampant with possession. They're just the crosses are gonna come left, right, and center.
All right, yeah, all right, yeah.
There's no way. There's
All
at least two KDB assists on this one. Watch.
All right, yeah, all right. Whatever you say, man. Whatever you say, man. What you say, man?
All right, what's the last game?
Our last game is Everton West Ham.
Oh my God, these are shit games, man.
Yeah.
Jesus,
I know it's tough. Fucking Chelsea Liverpool got canceled.
that's hard, man.
I mean, to be fair, I think Newcastle Bournemouth is probably not one no one even wants to consider. Brentford Arsenal, I would have liked.
No, all right, Everton West Ham.
Did you just say Newcastle Bournemouth?
No one would have wanted is my point. Like it really was slim pickings because of the canceled games.
I was gonna say Tottenham Leicester, but like Leicester fucking they haven't even won a game or some shit. But Everton West Ham, Frank Lampard. I don't even know what to say on this game. Fuck it, let's just get predictions. Let's start with Diego.
So it looks like this is the thing. I do know that Everton have won the most Premier League games against West Ham, and they've scored the most goals against them compared to any other Premier League opponent. However, they have lost their last 4 games against West Ham. They've only won once. Oh man. I think it's gonna be a boring game. 1-1. I'm putting 1-1. Anthony Gordon to put his goddamn team on his back, and West Ham to finally do something good, and they'll probably get a goal off of maybe Antonio. Maybe Bowen comes alive fucking finally for all the fantasy people. I think it's gonna be 1-1. Final answer. 1-1.
All right. Yeah.
No, I think it's gonna be 2-1 West Ham.
Fair enough. Marco?
2-0 West Ham. And by the way, I am upset because I just remembered right now that I had predicted what's his face to be fired, to be sacked this past week. And yet the game didn't happen, so he didn't get sacked, which sucks. But I think I'm talking about Brendan Rodgers. But again, the game against Spurs, I think that's when he's gonna get sacked.
This is it. This is it for fucking Rodgers. Damn.
I think. So. I called it for last one, but the game was postponed, so he got an extra week. Son of a bitch.
When a Sun hat trick finally comes through and shuts us all up with talking bad about Sun.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1-0 West Ham. I'm gonna go 1-0 West Ham. So with that concludes the Premier League predictions for this week, and that concludes this episode.
Wait, you have to talk about the 15 or whatever?
Oh shit!
That's crazy, dude.
Honestly, all right.
Where's Eric at? Yo? Eric would never.
All right, guys, yeah. Here we are now. With all this,
no respetan, yo. Channeling my inner Eric. No respetan, yo.
Oh, I'm holding my hands up. With all the respect, it's been hectic. You know, games got canceled last weekend. I fucking wild carded. I don't know why I wild carded.
No, you didn't,
bro. It's been hectic. I'm sorry. Fantasy 15.
All right.
I'm speak.
We'll take it away. Start your timer so that way we can get the time.
Wait.
3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Hit it.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Right. Fantasy 15 for game week 8. We saw all of game week 7's fixtures scratched off, postponed, canceled, and moved later on into the season because of Her Majesty taking
a leave of absence.
Indefinitely. So on our watch list, we're going to update you with names that we have, the names that we've added, the names that we've dropped, and we're going to go through that very quickly just so that you guys can keep a running tab at home for all our listeners, everyone that's keeping track. I'm going to first start out with the names that we have still on our watch list from the previous week, and then I'll call on Gad to give you the names that we're looking at adding potentially. And there are two names that I'll start with right now, as a matter of fact, that we're going to drop off of our list, who are Rashford and Bruno. Looks like Rashford isn't looking too hot for his next game in. There's rumors, there's musings of an injury, but combined with the postponement and cancellation of their game against this weekend, and basically the game right after they come back, which is going to be a month from now, thanks to the international break, is going to be a game against Manchester City. So I would probably avoid most United assets for the moment, despite them looking pretty good over the last 3 game weeks, just on their performances alone. Rashford and Bruno are two names that we're scratching off of the list. As far as names that we have on the list, I'll run through them fairly quickly, just so you can keep track. Bamford, Zaha, Pope, Trippier, Isak, Mitrovic, Richarlison, Tony, Aronson, Eze, KDB, Son, and Kane. These are all names that we have still on the watch list. Remember, the watch list is just a list of names that you can keep an eye on, keep track of, see if they can fit into your team. Of course, all of this is team dependent. Disclaimer. And Gad, I'm going to pull you in to read off some of the names that we're considering to add onto the watch list for this week and coming weeks that are in green.
So there are a couple of good ones, some notables that we are going to add on here, which might throw a wrench into your plans depending on how you are going to go about these next couple of weeks. But Schär and Botman do look pretty promising. Newcastle's fixtures do turn to be pretty good for quite a few weeks. Again, we already have Pope, Trippier, and Isak on our list. So depending on which route you want to go, those are two more names you want to consider. A couple of weeks ago, we did suggest to drop Perisic. We are looking at bringing him back on. Spurs do have a decent run of fixtures where we can at least see them scoring. There's definitely not going to be a fixture in the near future where we see them just not scoring at all. So Perisic is going to be key in that aspect because he does bring a lot of offensive power to that side. Zinchenko, another one we are bringing back. Fofana is going to be someone good to have. Mainly on the bench. He is cheap enough. I believe he's like 4.4, if I'm not mistaken. You don't want to have, at least right now, you don't want to have too many Chelsea defense on your squad anyway. So Fofana is cheap enough. He can enable a lot of other moves for the rest of your squad. Emerson is a good one to keep in mind. There are some talks where Cresswell might be itching to get his place back. So just keep an eye on that. But Emerson is looking good so far. To stay with West Ham, Bowen, hopefully he decides to kick it up. We can definitely West Ham's fixtures up until the World Cup. Not the World Cup, sorry. Yeah, the World Cup, they do turn pretty good. So hopefully West Ham in general start kicking it up to the next gear. Unfortunately, even though he's on a pretty shit team, Maddison is still a top player. He's the one that always seems to carry Leicester, and Leicester's fixtures, they're unmistakable. I mean, yeah, they play Tottenham next, but then you see them play the likes of Forest, Bournemouth, Palace, Leeds, Wolves. Those are really prime fixtures for someone like Maddison to really put the team on his back and get them hopefully a couple of result or two. James Ward-Prowse, there's not much you can say against this man. He is Saints through and through. He can always come up at any given moment. He's one definitely to keep an eye on. Of course, most of his points are most likely undoubtedly going to come from the set pieces, but he's still going to be one that you want to keep an eye on, and he's not too expensive either. Diego is hoping for a Gordon return in that Everton fixture, as he alluded to earlier. He does seem to be the go-to guy now, ever since Richarlison left and Calvert-Lewin can't seem to get healthy. And unfortunately, the likes of Demarai Gray and Doucouré have dropped off, so Gordon has been taking up the mantle pretty nicely. He just has to be consistent with it. And last but not least, one of the ones that we're looking to add on here is Bailey, that he is one you just want to be careful with because we all know how injury-prone Leon Bailey is. He's not as consistent. Yes, he's been popping up every now and then recently. However, he is ridiculously cheap. He is a really good enabler. To also free up some funds and make a couple moves elsewhere. So now we can go into Nico. Why did you wild card?
Right, hear me out. So I had Trent, right? I wanted to get rid of Pool players, right? Hear me out. And Graham Potter was kicking up at Brighton at the time, bro. I wanted to jump on some Brighton assets. So I picked up Lewis Dunk, Alex McAllister. And then I dropped I got rid of all my fucking 8 middle midfielders, KDB. So, and then I doubled up on Chelsea's defense, and everything fucking changed.
Well, next on the list, since I did bring that up, with all of the changes that have been happening, there's a lot of talk on when to wildcard now. Nico already said it; he wildcarded already. There's so much talk, and now it's changed dramatically just within the last day alone. Where in the past, it looked like the international break was where everyone was going to wildcard. There's a lot of cases out there now for holding off until 13. Diego, I'm sure you saw that too. And then there's a lot of people that for this upcoming game week don't have enough players. So a lot of people have been forced into a wild card. But Nico, as you said, you do want to get rid of Liverpool assets. Unfortunately, they just haven't been in the best form. They do blank. And then they do have some pretty tough fixtures in Brighton, Arsenal, and Man City upcoming. So it could be a great time just to get off of those assets. You do want to stay on Cancelo, though. I think he is the one premium defender where you can always count on him to give you something. He plays for City. He's going to get a clean sheet or two, regardless of who he plays. So he's definitely one you want to pick up on. There's already 5 of them on our watch list, but just a reiteration, Newcastle assets are a must if you are on a wild card. Like I said before, their fixtures are incredibly amazing to look at on paper. So hopefully they deliver on the pitch as we see it on paper. In terms of getting rid of Liverpool assets, one of those assets is going to be Mohamed Salah that you are going to be getting rid of. So some popular picks to swap over to mainly would be KDB. The best thing about moving over to KDB is that you're going to want Liverpool back in the future anyway. You're not going to want to stay without Salah for too long. So moving over to KDB lets you easily go back to Salah in a couple of weeks' time. I believe in around game week, I don't know, I'm not going to give a number and be wrong. So in a couple of weeks, it is going to be beneficial to probably go back onto Liverpool assets. The City assets as well. You're going to see a lot of the Cancelo, KDB, and Haaland most likely on all of these drafts because at the end of the day, it is City. It doesn't matter who they play. It's always going to be a favorable fixture for City. Diego, you want to round off the last couple of ones on this list here?
Yeah, sure. And something that might actually help Nick as far as who he's going to pick up on his wild card. A lot of premium teams have started to emerge in the draft. So basically, a lot of players had to pick just one premium midfielder and then possibly one premium forward. And the likes of Haaland and Kane were pretty much the go-tos for the first, I would say, 3 to 5 game weeks. Now that we're approaching to game week 8, it looks like you can even build a premium team with the likes of Haaland up top, your choice of Son or Kane, and KDB in the middle. And you would be forced into probably getting other budget midfielders and some 4 million defenders. But let's say, for example, you go for Leon Bailey, who's 4.7. You go for an Andreas Pereira at 4.5, or I think he might be 4.6 already. If he's the one providing the assist for Mitrovic, who looks to be fixture-proof, I don't think you can really go wrong. And if you have to play one of those two guys just so you could have Haaland, Kane, and KDB, or Haaland, Son, and KDB, you're pretty much set for the next weeks coming up. So something to consider is maybe building a premium team with your wild card. And then the other possibly wild card in terms of your forward position, a lot of people don't really know what to do with Gabriel Jesus. This fixture that they would have had in game week 7 would have been nice for them to pick up some points. Now they have, I think, an arguably more, not difficult for them, but I think a bigger challenge with Brentford. Can they still get points? Yes, they can. I think that maybe Jesus is someone that you could stick with. But in case you want to offload him, maybe you can go down to an Isaac or a Tony. I think that would also help free up some funds for your midfield. It doesn't look like the defenders are very much going to bring the clean sheet points anymore. That 5 at the back really seems to have switched over to accommodate for 3 forwards on your front line. I know Guy and I were probably joking that we need 4 forwards. Maybe Todd Bowley wants to play 4-4-4 for our fantasy teams. I don't know. But as far as Gabriel Jesus, you can also upgrade him to Harry Kane. Someone like Harry Kane, this is, of course, assuming, not wanting to. This is, of course, hopefully correctly predicting that everybody right now, at least on this podcast, has Haaland in their fantasy squads. And if you don't have Haaland in your fantasy squad, definitely take advantage of your wild card right now to bring him in. However, if you do have Haaland and you also have Jesus, you could probably consider upgrading Gabriel Jesus to a Harry Kane up front and maybe going with your third forward as a budget pick between Mitrovic, Isak, and Tony. That pretty much wraps up what we're considering for the wild card. And the final note that we want to leave off on is definitely think longer term, not just what is immediately ahead. There's going to be some chopping and changing of fixtures. We already have the confirmation that game week 12 is going to be another blank between Arsenal and Man City. So probably not having a combination of players from those two teams would be easier for you to manage. I think it's still worthwhile to have somewhat of a bench for you to have. At least probably 1 to 2 reasonable bench players would be okay. You can dead end, obviously, into like a 4 million defender or a 4.5 million forward if you want to play just 2. But I think right now what we're looking at, and I believe probably guys is with me on this, we're looking at probably 3 in the back, most likely 4 in the midfield, and then 3 up top. I think that accommodates very well. We don't really see the likes of, well, Robertson is injured. Aside from the Liverpool game being postponed, Robertson injured, Trent just not being himself, Tsimikas coming in for minutes. You have Diaz on the chopping block for minutes as well. Jota's back healthy. We saw him in the Champions League today. I think there's just going to be a lot of competition for minutes moving forward. So 3-4-3 is probably the formation you want to pick up on for your wild card. And just to end it, right before we call time, Nick, what time do you got right now on your timer?
12:46 and counting.
12:46 and counting. Marco, what is one question for your fantasy team right now that you're looking at, whether it's the wild card or maybe a player that you want to drop? What's something that you want to consider for this game week 8?
Get rid of Salah.
Get rid of Salah. What to do with Salah? Did you already use your free transfer?
I haven't done anything at all.
He has not done his free transfer. You probably have too. So I think actually you could benefit from dropping Salah and getting probably another premium midfielder. The likes between KDB and Son is pretty tempting. KDB has scored in his last 4 games against Wolves. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he has more goals against another team as a midfielder. And so he's definitely an ideal candidate to pick up on. But you also have the likes of Heung-min Son that's due. He's due a return. If you want to take a risk and you want to jump on him, I think there's a bigger upside to Son because not only has he dropped in price, that also means that less managers own him. So if he does happen to return against a very poor Leicester side, I mean, it is Spurs. So disclaimer. We saw what happened with them in the Champions League. I do think, though, that they could want probably to bounce back. Nick, with the last minute and change of our Fantasy 15 segment, what is someone or some change that you want to do now that you're on your wildcard template?
Fucking too many, dude. I need to get rid of Brighton assets. I don't even know who. Adam Lallana is a manager, 14 to 18. Oh, I just need to get rid of Brighton assets. I don't know who to get. Yeah, I don't know who to get in terms of getting rid of these Brighton assets. I have 2 of them. I'm fucked.
I think we could go a little bit longer in our Fantasy 15. I think Gat might have some suggestions in terms of who to replace and who to pick up on, especially in that midfield. There are some names that have cropped up. I know Gat had the likes of Zaha, right?
Yeah, so the likes of Zaha has been on there for a while. Granted, yes, he does blank in game week 8. They do play Chelsea in game week 9, but as we've mentioned before, time and time again, Zaha does seem to turn up in the big games. And unfortunately, Potter's still going to need some time to figure things out with Chelsea. So I wouldn't be surprised if Zaha gets a goal or 2 against Chelsea. And then just going forward, Palace have Leeds after that. They have Leicester, Wolves, Everton. They do have some pretty nice fixtures. In the previously mentioned international break wildcard that was prominent at one point, before all this happened, Zaha was like number 1 on everyone's list. And then we mentioned Bowen, we mentioned Madison. You know, there's a lot of different options that you can go to in terms of those midfields. And yes, 3 in the back is probably going to be something that you're going to see going forward. So definitely pick up the likes of Trippier. I'm assuming you still have Cancelo, so you're going to want to stay on Cancelo. That third spot is up to you. Do you really want to play Nico Williams when he is going up against the likes of Fulham, Leicester, Villa, Wolves in the next 4? Not a bad shout. You can just double up on the Newcastle defense as well. Shaw is probably going to be my go-to if you're looking to double up on them. So I wouldn't stress. You're on your wild card, so you're free to do a lot. Just take it one step at a time.
There you go.
And I think with that, Gat and Nick, treading carefully with the wild card, that will finish our Fantasy 15 segment, which ended with a little bit of change. But those on wild card, make sure that you utilize it to your best advantage for the coming game weeks. Those who still have your wild card, I think the idea, especially since Gat had said that you may not have enough players for this upcoming week with the cancellations. If you have at least 9 to 10 players with a transfer, that's great. If you need to take a hit just to get to 9 or 10 players, I think that's okay. If you need to take more than one hit just to field 9 players, I think it's time for you to play your wild card and probably pick up on some of the more popular picks that have been transferred in for this week. And as always, we wish you luck. This is the end of Fantasy 15 with a little bit of extra insight for both Nick and Marco. Hopefully, Eric remembers to make his changes. A simple reminder that there is an early deadline this week of Friday afternoon because there are games at 3 p.m. So the early kickoff on Saturday does not apply this week. Hopefully, especially for that City game. But that's really all we got for this week, and we'll give you the update for Fantasy 15 on next week's episode.
All right, boys. With that all being said, we are the Benchwarmers. Bench with a voice. Where the bench is always warm. Goodbye, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.